Hello, welcome to this episode of Affaircare. My name is Cindy Taylor, and I'm one of the co-founders here at Affaircare, along with my dear hubby David, who is the man behind the camera. Welcome to this new podcast series we have. If you've seen our site, we are going through a little bit of a update, a little change to the site. We've moved from to self-hosting, which is going to hopefully make things a little where we can choose for ourselves what we want for the site, and we're pretty excited about that. It's a big move for us. After years of starting on a blogger, and then we moved to WordPress.com. Now we're self-hosted, so kind of excited. And so to start this kind of a new, a refresh on the site, I thought it might be good to go over the basic things about affairs. And today we're going to start with the classic signs that your spouse is cheating. So altogether, there are 14 signs that you can look for. And of course, under each one of these, there's going to be several examples. So let's start right in. The classic clues would be like if you see lipstick on the collar or there's strange hairs in the car. You hear about that one all the time. That's a kind of a funny one. But so let's start off with the real first one, sign one, your gut instinct. There's going to be a part of you in your gut that knows that something is wrong. So if you're asking that question in the first place, it's possible that something's not right and that you need to begin to gather some evidence. Okay, the second sign is that the behavior is not their usual character. So, for example, if your spouse usually was a really mellow, honest kind of person, they might suddenly be becoming more tense, or likewise, they might be showing signs of being dishonest. They might suddenly stop wearing their wedding ring. They might suddenly appear to be distant, whereas usually they used to talk to you all the time. These are signs that they're acting a little unusual for them. So just bear that in mind. The third sign is birth control irregularities. So for example, if you've had your tubes tied, but all of a sudden your wife's taking birth control pills, why would you need that? Or likewise, if you're the lady and you find condoms in the car. Why would he need condoms in the car? So just you might see that as a sign. The fourth sign would be a change in their showering or cologne habits. So for example, if she used to be like constantly, like me, I always wear patchouli. That's my signature little scent, if you will. So all of a sudden, if I stopped wearing patchouli or I started showering like 2-3 times a day, that would be a change for me. So if you leave the house in the morning smelling, like normal, and you come home and shower right away and you smell like something else, these are signs that there might be something going on. The fifth sign, if they're acting like they're uncomfortable around you, usually when you're close friends, you enjoy being with each other and you kind of talk, and even if your spouse is an introvert, like my dear hubby David, he even still will be in the conversation with me. He just says few words, but he's interested. You know what I mean? So if all of a sudden they're acting like it's hard to be around you, or if they start loading up on stories about how you're a horrible spouse, if you go to give them a little hug and they're kind of like that, that could be a sign that they're cheating. Now, the next one, sign 6, electronic clues, I call it, is really, this one is there's several options that you can find. I broke them up into email clues, cell phone clues, and computer clues. But essentially, it's kind of like most of the other signs. They're going to change their habits. In the email, for example, maybe they will be on email all day. They hadn't been that way before. Another email clue is you notice that they've set up an email that you don't know anything about. You're not able to see that email. And before, they had shared email with you. You know what I mean? So that's just a clue that something's up. They're hiding something. Anyway, cell phone clues would be if they, maybe they are, you look at the minutes on your bill and it's like, wow, the minutes have blown up. What happened? And they're constantly texting, Snapchatting, or on their phone all the time. If they set up a separate phone account so you can't look at the minutes. Maybe they even buy a separate little cell phone. Those are, again, it's a change in their habit. And then likewise on the computer, when they are staying up really late, you go to bed and they're staying up on the computer or on the game, right? That could be a red flag. Or if they're not allowing you to see what's on the screen, like you walk in the room and all of a sudden they put something down. Usually that means they're hiding something. Okay, so sign 7, things are just different at home. Now on this one, it's kind of hard to pinpoint, but they'll always be tired. They'll always they don't want to go to bed together. This is very similar to the one where you kind of have a gut feeling, where all of a sudden they'll ask you about your schedule, and they never, like, gee, I don't know what I'm going to do today, because they're trying to figure out when they can do stuff. Or likewise, they will suddenly become accusatory. They'll accuse you of cheating, accuse you of lying, and a lot of times that means that they are cheating or lying. And they begin to speak about you really harshly. So you'll notice those kind of signs. Okay, sign number 8, you'll see lots and lots of changes. And this one is really typical. All of a sudden, they join the gym, and they never really cared about that before. We're on sign 9. And this sign, you'll see it's the telephone mannerisms that are different. And here, again, what you'll notice is things like maybe your caller ID will come up, and it's an unusual number that keeps coming up over and over again, and you don't recognize the number. You get an unusual number of hang-ups or wrong numbers people call in. Or your phone bill will start showing unexpected, like, long-distance calls or a whole bunch of calls. Or they'll whisper while they call. You'll hear a little change in their voice when they're talking on the phone. And that's just regular telephone things that you'll notice that are that might raise a red flag. Sign 10, these are automotive, car-related signs that something is up, that might raise a little bit of a red flag for you. So, for example, if the passenger seat all of a sudden is changed to, it's pulled forward, and you've always left it pulled way back, somebody else sat there. When they say something like, I'm going to go to the grocery store, and they're gone for 4 hours. The car has unexpected mileage on it. These are potential signs that that there might be an issue. So just bear in mind, those are things that they don't prove it, but they kind of consistently show something might be up. I better look into it. Okay, the 11th sign. This I call it's paper trails. These might be what I call sometimes like low tech. Things that you might notice or see that are going to be a little bit different, that your spouse might be cheating. So, for example, if you find credit card receipts for items that are not in your house and not in your not in your spouse's trunk or something, where did the stuff go? If you receive bank accounts with like withdrawals, again, where the money sort of there's a difference between I withdrew some money for lunch, and all of a sudden it's 40s and 100s being withdrawn, and where'd that money go? Okay, you'll get like ATM receipts that you just find in their pocket that have no oh yeah, that's right, I took out some money today to buy the blah blah blah. You know what I mean? You'll start to notice various paper trails, and the most common ones are going to be your credit card receipts, your bank statement things, and your phone bill. Those things will, and like cell phone and telephone, those things will have leave a trail. And you can even compare them sometimes to a credit card receipt to the calendar to see if here's a credit card receipt that proves you were in Boston when you told me you were going to be in Connecticut. See what I mean? That's paper trail. Okay, the 12th sign that your spouse may be cheating, something's wrong, is I call them tip-offs. So, for example, it's a little tip-off that, maybe your spouse used to be all, like, pretty, into sex, and now all of a sudden they're a little standoffish. When they, all of a sudden will, they've been going along and maybe they've been a pretty vanilla person, and all of a sudden they got some hot, spicy moves, right? If they are, all of a sudden they're given excuses, and they weren't usually an excuse person before. If they have, a hickey on their neck and you didn't give it to them. These are little things that are like little tip-offs, and they are specifically relating to sex. And again, all of these signs are like, if you see one sign, that may not necessarily mean that it's an affair, but if you see a bunch of them kind of working together, it might be a clue that you should start looking for evidence of proof one way or another. Okay, the next to last, the 13th sign, are what I would call work-related signs that they might be cheating. So, for example, all of a sudden your spouse is working, and all of a sudden they're working much longer hours. Okay, add that up with the paper trail of, they say they're gone all these extra hours, but there's no overtime on their check. See what I mean? That's the way these signs sometimes will work together. Maybe they used to have a routine, and all of a sudden they've changed their routine. And a change of routine is not always a bad thing, but if it's the kind of routine where all of a sudden now they're spending a lot more time away, that's the and for no reason, then that's the possible sign. If you leave them a message and they won't return the call in front of you, if they, they're all of a sudden they're attending all these work functions, and I've got to go on this work trip. These are work-related signs that something might be wrong. And just a note to self, a lot of times what people will do is they will use their work email and their work, quote-unquote, work cell phone because to connect with their affair partner, because they think, my spouse can't trace my work email or trace my work cell phone. They have no right to get in there. There's some confidentiality, that kind of thing. So just bear in mind that when you find out, maybe you find out you call into the office and they're not there, or you find out they took vacation time and they weren't with you. See, again, these are work-related signs that something is up. Okay, and then the final, sign or group of signs, if you will, things that you'll hear. These are really, if you hear any one of these four, chances are like fairly strong that there is at minimum an emotional affair. So really, again, start looking for evidence. And the four things are, we're just friends. When you say, you're spending an awful lot of time about Sue, all you ever do is talk about Sue. We're just friends. That usually is a sign, because if they're defending that harshly, they don't want to give it up. They got some emotional attachment. Another one, you need to respect my privacy. Okay. Now, people, bear in mind, there's a difference between privacy and secrecy. Privacy would be if you go to the bathroom and you close the door, or you go into your room and you close the door to get dressed. That's privacy. You have even in a marriage, you do have a right to, that kind of modesty privacy. But secrecy would be, I am purposely hiding things from my spouse, and that's what they're trying to call their secrecy privacy, and that's not what it is. So don't be fooled. Another thing you'll hear, I love you, but I'm not in love with you. Well, guess what? You made a vow, and the vow didn't say that you'd have butterfly feelings all 24, 25, 26 years. Love is not the way that the other person makes you feel. Love is the way that you treat them. So, I love you, but I'm not in love with you. That's definitely a sign. That's probably like the number one thing that people will say when they're having an affair. And then the last one is, I need some space to figure out my feelings. No, they need space so they can cheat and not be seen. So if you hear any one of those four, something's going on. So today we've gone over these 15, kind of bigger signs that your spouse may be cheating. We do have a page on our site. It's called All of the Signs Your Spouse May Be Cheating, and it goes through all 15 just like I just did, but it also has, like, underneath each, like, bigger category, if you will, many, many examples of the of that category's sign of cheating. So if you see any of these, you can contact us, and our email is affaircare@gmail.com. There's also, you can make a comment on the page that will link right here on the screen. You can also hit the Contact Us page, and that will send us an email. It goes to both David and I, so you're going to get both the male and the female perspective, and both the loyal spouse and disloyal spouse perspective. So it's kind of a good deal for you. So next week, as I mentioned, we're doing this refresh on the site, and I thought it might be a great time to do like a refresh on some of our more important main topics and main articles. And so next week we'll be continuing the little refresh series, and hopefully you'll enjoy some of the new things that we're adding to the site, and we look forward to seeing you next week. Thanks. Bye-bye.